Welcome to a new episode of SaaS Unscripted. Today, I have the pleasure to interview serial entrepreneur and maybe CEO and founder of one of the hottest SaaS businesses out there, Hans from Neopel.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, Hans, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Hans. I'm one of the founders of Neopel, which is actually a pretty new company. We started 1.5 years ago, not even. And I used to be an engineer, so I did a lot of software and electrical engineering, but also a dropout and started our own company during our studies.
You mentioned I'm a dropout, so what made you drop out?
I think because after a while we also started an student team. So we were in a team where we make a small car for a competition, and that was actually already like running a business because we had a team of I think 15 people that we have to bring together to really make a car in 9 months. So that was a really stressful time. But the fun thing was that it was actually harder than running a business because all these people were doing it for free because it was just students. So it was really hard to motivate them, especially around like the exam weeks and to keep everybody together, still working to the same goal. So that was actually, if I think back, it was actually more challenging than running a business in some aspects. That was that really triggers me. I never. My father is also an entrepreneur, so he has his own company. But it never came up to me that I wanted to found something myself. When we joined the student team, it was like, okay, now this is way more fun than studying, and that made me actually drop out. Yeah.
And what was your role in that project team?
We call it team manager, but that's if it translates to a company, it's sort of CEO function. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That is CEO was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so you dropped out right after the project, or how did that timeline?
Yeah, I tried to do my study when the project stopped. Then I wanted to do my studies and start a company at the same time, and that was a bad decision. But I tried. So then it was like studying during the weekdays, and then in the evening, in the weekend, you were building the company. But that turns the other way around when the company grows, and then after a while, it's just only studying during exam weeks, and you're not learning anything from it anymore. But I finished my bachelor's, and I definitely didn't want to go to my master's because I thought, okay, that doesn't make sense. I don't gonna learn anything from it, not because the content is not valuable, but it's because I'm not putting the right effort into it. Yeah. So that made me stop.
Yeah, interesting. And how did you found that business? What did you found, and what?
The thing is, you don't start a company on Monday. Say, okay, I want to do this. That's basically not how it works. So when you start a company, there is a very long period before that you are thinking, oh, I want to do something in this direction. So for us, I was doing it together with my co-founder that was also in the student project. And we say, okay, we learned a lot during the student project. Maybe companies want us to do that for them, basically, just doing engineering stuff and building things in a very short time frame. That was like our first thought. And we say, okay, maybe companies want to pay for it, so let's start a business in that direction. And we just started talking to a lot of companies and see if they were interested to give us money to do their project. And it worked, actually. So we got a first project after a few weeks that we talked to a few companies, and we say, okay, I think we can do it. And we didn't have any experience in that kind of topic and in that technology, but we thought, okay, we never did it, but probably we can do it. So we just tried. And it worked, and we were able to send an invoice, but we didn't have a company yet, so we had to found a company after we finished the project, and that's what we did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And what was the company?
It was an engineering consultancy company. So we did projects for a lot of startups mostly. So in the beginning, it was only startups. Later on, it was like enterprises that have really difficult projects. But in the beginning, it was like building a small hardware device for a startup, basically. And we worked for a lot of startups that we made their hardware product and helped them, bring it to the market.
Yeah. Okay, so you basically you started to study engineering.
Yeah.
After a study project, you dropped out to start a consultancy business.
Yeah.
How did that evolve? Like, what kind of revenue do I think of? How big was the team?
Yeah, so the first year we did it with the two of us, and I was selling the project, and my companion Frank was making it. Basically, that was the roles that we had, and we did it for 1 year. But then the project became bigger, and it was like, okay, we can do it, especially when you're trying to study at the same time. That was still the time that we tried to study. We can do it on our own anymore. So that's where we actually hired the first 2 people, and that's where friends from the university that we knew, and it was also difficult for us to hire people because we didn't have any experience in it. So it was like, can you also freelance? Maybe that's easier for us. And so we freelanced with a few people in the second year, and but after 2 years we're already with, I think, 10 people. So that was then it was growing quite fast because the projects became bigger and we had something unique. It wasn't we didn't knew that there was a big shortage of engineers in the market. That's basically the thing that made us grow because but we were not aware of it. It was like, because in our perception everybody was an engineer, right? So like we were engineering studies at so for us we didn't knew that that's the reason why we grew, but that's where it worked.
Okay, nice. What kind of revenue did you do at your consultancy?
In the beginning, I think we grew in a few years to 1 million, but the company is still growing and growing strong, and it's now also a few times bigger already.
Nice.
Possible. Yeah.
And how did you move on from there? Because you did found another company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I like to do a lot of things, maybe not particularly on the same time, but I have a lot of ambition. And consultancy is like a linear business, and I saw a lot of our startups that were like, if they had got traction with their product, then they were growing like crazy. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting dynamic. It's completely different from us, that we have to hire a few more people, then we could grow a bit, and there's a completely different dynamics there. And I wanted to discover that. And in the evenings, after I stopped my studies, in the evenings we started with also our own startup, where we made technology for electric cars, basically. And we did it as like, maybe we will spin it off after a few years, but we got traction quite fast, and we thought, okay, maybe we have to bring it directly in a different entity and build a team around it. So that's why we actually end up with 2 companies, one engineering consulting company and in the end, a car sharing company.
So I see a pattern there, that you first did that with your studies, and then another side project. Sure.
But I learned from it.
Your master's in business instead of your master's in engineering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And so how did you do that? Organizational. You had two companies, one traction, the other had already traction.
That was also a difficult time, I think, and that's also what I've learned. You cannot do multiple things at the same time, especially not running a startup, because it's as a very high. It's not a workload. It's like focus. That's the most important thing, is that you don't have focus on one thing, and that will cause problems after a while, especially when things go well. If things don't go well, it doesn't matter. But maybe things are not going well because you don't have focus. So it's So that after a while, also my other co-founders from Ember, the car sharing company, were also like, okay, you have to choose, and they were completely right.
We're different co-founders then.
Yeah, we're different co-founders. Yeah. And I had to choose, and at that time it was, I think my companion was better in running the engineering business, because he really has like the he knows the technology. I
Yeah.
don't.
Hmm.
And so we made a decision that he was running the engineering business and I was running the car sharing business. Yeah.
And I forget about one important part here,
Yeah.
because how did you come with the idea to create software for electric cars?
Yeah. Because sort of my specialization during my studies was automotive. And I wanted to do something with it because I really like cars. I still like cars, and just like the freedom that it gives, and like the technology that is very durable, and it sparks my mind basically. And when we're doing the engineering project, we never did any project for automotive because it's hard and it's really regulated, and it's difficult for a young company to start in that direction. So we wanted to do it anyway, and we just then we do it ourselves. If there are no customers for us, then we will just build our own product around electric cars. That was basically the beginning.
Yeah. So what's the prototype then back then?
Yeah, we actually built a complete car. Yeah.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, no, we because this is the thing with startups. They never end with the product of which they started. Like it's always you always pivot as a startup.
Yeah.
Because you have an initial thought and like, okay, we want to do something like this, and then you will end up with completely something different. But we started with, we want to make an electric car. So we built a prototype. We hired people to design the car. We came quite far. We had a prototype. We had like all the drawings and also suppliers for part of the technology. But of course, it never came into production because that's hard.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of designing and sourcing and everything.
Interesting. And were there already a lot of money spent back then on prototyping?
Yeah, too much, of course. But I think that in the first 2 years we only spent money on building a car that we never made.
Yeah.
But this was the same basis that we used for the company that was later a car sharing company.
Yeah. Okay.
But then you already spend a lot of money, but you already have a team and you have experience and you know things that don't work. So it's I think it's fine. But that's also part of building a company, is that you waste a lot of time and effort and money in the beginning. That's
fair enough.
Yeah.
But that was already in the period that you went all in on Ember then. That was prototyping, building that car.
I think after 1.5 years, I completely shifted to Ember. Yeah.
And how did you finance that then back then?
We would just friends, family.
Yeah, okay. But there was investors in.
There were investors. We actually make an we call it a stock for them, and we just gave like convertible loans in the beginning and then converted them, and so we already had a structure for financing the business. But there was only like friends and families that were in the investor pool. Yeah.
And what was the point that you pivoted to Ember? What it was after that?
The thing is, I think that the most important thing that what we also learned during building actually also with Neople, with every company, is when you don't work with clients, you don't know where you are in your how do you say it, in your journey. So when you're building a car, you are like working in a garage for 7 years, and then maybe a car comes out, and then you try to sell it, and then you see if there is a market for it, right? And we didn't want to wait that long for that feedback cycle, so we just wanted to start with the concept that we had in mind. And the concept that we had in mind is that you have a car that is not owned, but it's used. And then you come, of course, to car sharing, but the car that we were developing was really tailored around that concept. Like, that's just a car that's very durable with replaceable parts that can be driven for like millions of kilometers. But you don't have that car yet, but you also want to validate your concept and the thing that you are envision. And what we did was we wanted to test that concept, and we just leased some cars to test it. and that's really got traction. And it was really hard to get investment and build a company around building a car in the Netherlands. That's the difficult part. But if you can find investors and customers and people to run an operational business, right?
Yeah.
So if you are already like leasing cars and share it with a community, then you're making money, and then you got traction and you get feedback and you know what's working, what's not working, and then you really got traction on that part.
Yeah.
And that the same problem came up, like you cannot build a car and run an operational business at the same time. So then you also have to choose, and we choose to do the car sharing business.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how did it go with the team? Was it that you stumbled upon it, or were you testing markets?
We tested a lot of markets,
Yeah.
but I think we got a lot of luck with our first customer, because our first paying customer was ABN AMRO.
Okay.
A little bit by coincidence, but also they were, it was hard to get these car leased because it's a young company. You don't have any annual accounts, so it's really hard to get a car on a leasing contract, basically. So we were looking for a customer that was willing to pay enough that we can cover the lease. And then we just searched for companies that were willing to pay for it. And after a while, we stumbled upon ABN AMRO. That was, okay, we can try this. Because they also want to make a transition to electric driving. And this we are talking about 2018, 2017. And that was not as common as today to drive electric. So they were also in the transition to electric driving. And this was a really good step for them. Yeah. And that's made it possible for us to start with the business. Yeah.
Well, you make it sound very easy to have ABN as a launching customer.
Yeah.
How did that go? How did you land it? How did you get the contacts? How do you?
Yeah. That's a funny thing. Yeah. We what helped is that we had some empathy on our side. So we were a young company, really ambitious guys that wanted to build something, and we had some people in the company in ABN AMRO that really were charmed by it and were also willing to help. And then you have your heroes, your ambassadors inside the company that are helping you through the whole process, because we also didn't have any experience with corporate sales. We didn't know how to do it.
How old were you guys back then?
24, 23. Yeah, that's
nice. And how did it go from there? Thanks for sharing that learning.
Yeah,
that's great. Great to hear that.
Then we learned that all the big companies are looking to each other. What are you doing, and what is looking good, basically. And then it was when we made a pitch deck with we are working for ABN AMRO, and that gives a lot of trust to other corporates, and that's made it possible for us to also start with other enterprise customers, and then we really got traction and grew a lot, because a lot of big companies wanted to move to driving electric, and we were we had a very low barrier to start with us. And because it's car sharing, you're not taking away cars from people and they are replacing them with electric cars, which is like a lot of objections and a lot of things that makes it difficult, and you don't know what's happening after that. So it was also a way of trying to drive electric for them. So that was our way in, basically. So start with like our concept with to start driving electric, and it worked. So we grew our customer base, we grew our team, we also got funding for the company. So after I think half a year or 3 quarters, basically, we also got funding from an investor to fund our growth in the car sharing business. That worked. But then, we grew and grew, and then COVID hit.
And that was a B2B proposition, right?
Yeah, so we were only working for like enterprise and business customers. And when when COVID came to the Netherlands, these companies were not allowed to work at the at the office anymore, but they were also not allowed to go to customers anymore. And there was actually definitely no need for any kind of mobility. It doesn't matter what you are doing, but if you're doing mobility for enterprises, there was no business at all anymore. So our complete business came to a complete stop just overnight. Just after the press conference, it was like, the business was over basically, and all the cars were standing still in all the garages, and then we had to make a plan because we were out of business basically.
How long did that pivot take from March 2020 when we had the first press conference?
Yeah, we started I think in August, so it was after 3-4 months, and that was a really hectic time. Yeah, because you see that you are losing a lot of money and you're investing a lot in a new concept.
Yeah.
And that was tricky, and also not really understand by everybody in the company and also the investors, that they say, okay, what are you doing? You're investing in a new product when we are losing a lot of money because we don't have any business anymore. But we started in August. We already started testing and piloting with our first user groups, and in September 1 we did a big marketing launch and invested a lot of money in marketing to bring it to consumers, and that's
and you have answered that super practical. This is what I did, but you basically say, hey, I'm almost out of business, losing money. Investors and internal people did not know what you were doing.
Yeah,
how did that? What lived in yourself basically?
That's a good question. I think I was, of course, I was scared because you build a company and you knew that things were working actually quite well, and then it's like, okay, everything is going to hell in just in a few months' time, and that was on the one hand you are really scared that you lose what you have built. On the other hand, it was also, you have a lot of energy to fix it and time, because you're not running a business anymore. So you have a lot of time and a lot of energy that you say, I want to fix it. And then, it really motivates me to continue. Yeah.
Was that more adrenaline? I have to fix this, or surviving mode, basically?
Yeah, it was also surviving mode. Yeah. And that also didn't lead to the best decisions, I think. Because you want to survive, and that's the most important thing, of course. But
what were bad decisions back then?
A lot of them. I think that we sometimes like. That's a good question. I think a lot in hiring. So you're also hiring people because you say, okay, I now need some people in some department that you don't have yet too fast, because you're not paying attention to building the right team, but because you have to fix it and you need people in support and you need people in marketing departments you didn't have before. Like, okay, just hire everybody who you can find.
Who wants a job?
Who wants a job, and look straight in the eyes. But we had a really good team in the end, but we also made some mistakes there, and we also had to let people go at the time, and that was
there's not fun in games in these times, I believe.
No, exactly. No, but if you are, I think scared is the right word. If you are scared and trying to grow the company in really rough times, then these things definitely happen.
Fair enough. Okay, looking back, what have you achieved with Amber? High over, like how big was the operation? What kind of revenue? What?
We sold the company in 2022 to investor, and now it's merged with My Wheels. I think that was really good for the company in the end, and I think also considering the investment climate, it really was also fitting with the.
Was it one event? Was the merge, or did you first sell it to an investment company and then merge?
It was Yeah, I think it's both of them. So it was not exactly at the same time, but it was related to each other, definitely. Yeah. But so I think that we make a good landing with the company. I think that's a good thing. We learned definitely a lot. That is something that I really got out of it. And I think we I think we changed the landscape of car sharing a bit, because before nobody was doing electric car sharing because that was more expensive than petrol cars, because the cars were more expensive, but the operations is actually cheaper in some aspect. So if you do it right, you can do it better, and also like the way of distributing cars were a lot of things that were
nice. Why did you sell?
I think it was the right time for the company, because we just recovered from COVID, and the nice thing was that the team was we hold the team together, so we had a team that was really motivated to continue with the company, and we got our consumer customers, and then the business customers came back. So we had like we had now 2 user groups that were actually doing quite well, and that was and I think in this market, especially when you're doing consumers, then consolidation really makes sense, because you want to have a lot of skill to make companies like this work, and then you have the right moment to do it, basically.
And after that, were you completely free, hands off? And what happened then? How long have you stayed in that free period?
I think long enough. So I stopped with anything what I did for half a year, and also spent a few months abroad, because I really wanted to wrap my head around what do I want to do next, basically. And all the options are open, so you can it's like, do you want to get a job? Do you want to build a new company? Do you want to do investing, or do you want to be a consultant? Everything is somehow an option. So it's like, okay, what's, and then you start thinking, and then it becomes also a little bit scary, because then you don't know what to choose, basically. It was an interesting time. I learned a lot about myself, what I like and what I don't like, and where I don't want, and I want to spend my energy on. Also considered of like working in a completely different part of the world, like building solar plants in Africa, things like that. So,
how did you do the soul searching?
Just give it time. Yeah. I think I did a lot of hiking and just wandering around, basically, and just thinking, drawing, and that's the only thing that I did for a few months, and then it was like, no, I really get it. And I already had the idea of Neopel with a few other people that are now call my co-founders, basically. And then I also had to choose, like, okay, is this the thing that I want to do, and just dive back into the chaos of a startup again. But I did.
Was Neopel then one of the ideas that you had during those hikes?
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, I was really serious about building solar plants in Africa.
Interesting.
I was really serious about it. This, you also want to place yourself in a position that you can be successful. On the one hand, you want adventure. On the other hand, you also want to do something that you have some feeling that I can do it, basically. That's the perfect crossing of that was Neopel.
How did you come up with the idea? Now I want to know everything about it.
It's that's interesting. The first thing where we started was like, okay, we did a lot of things with Ember that made us really efficient. So also applying some sort of AI, and it's completely different now than then, of course, but to make our operations more efficient. And our thinking was, okay, if we can make other companies do the same things that we did, we can mean a lot for them. And then we start thinking, okay, how we're going to bring that to these companies, because not all the companies are really tech savvy or are like searching all day for the newest technology. Not everybody's doing that. So how are you going to bring this technology to, or technology in general, or like efficiency tools to these companies? And we start talking about it and pitching, and we had different names and different pitches. I think every pitch that we did at the time was different. So every time we had a presentation about what we wanted to do to make their company more efficient, was completely different, because it was like we want to test as many things as possible in a shortest amount of time. And after a while was, okay, maybe if we say we are going to automate everything in your company with AI, why are we not presenting ourselves as like an artificial intelligence company? Why are we not using AI to pitch for us? So that's where we came up with Emily. And Emily was an AI generated name and an AI generated pitch in an AI generated movie that was pitching the idea of the company that was going to innovate the customer. And Emily was pitching that.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Emily is still the CEO, I saw.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, we are now co-CEO, but but she's smarter than me. But the fun thing is that that really got the attention of the people that we were pitching to. Like, oh, that's nice. You are pitching your company. You're make an AI pitch your company. So okay, I also want an AI to do things for us in the same way that we are presenting it. And then they say, okay, but maybe that's the product then. Maybe the AI agent or the AI, what we now call the Neopel, is the product.
Brilliant.
And that's how we shifted completely to, okay, then we are a recruitment agency, because we are just Emily is bringing other AI agents to companies. That's how it started.
Yeah, but it feels so logic if you see it. The whole proposition is like, okay, you put a face on AI, and that's like, okay, I want to have that face working for me instead of the technology that I don't trust.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how it started. And then we just, we made multiple Emilys, and then we had Sam and Taylor and all these. We made more AI. Characters basically, and we start pitching them and to a lot of different companies. So
you said we. Who is we, and how did you get together with?
So my co-founders are Job, Bas, and Menno. And Job I already knew. So Job was was also the CTO in the engineering company from back then. So he knew how to build products. He also got a master in AI, so he knows the technology. And is like, every time I talk to Job, he was saying, "Oh, you have to look at this. This is new. This is the newest technology, and look what it can do," and things like that. So every time I see Job, he was like pitching new AI technology to me. So that was like a very logical person to get involved into this. Bas and Menno I got from I didn't know before. That was also really interesting. So we had a mutual connection, and he said, "Oh, I was also pitching the product, the concept to him," and he would say, "Okay, but I also know other people that are also building a company with a completely different proposition, but they also building a company."
You were both building the company.
And say you have to pitch your company to each other. So we sat together and we was like, okay, we just gave presentation to each other. This is what we're going to do. And they say, oh, well, this is what we're going to do. And the fun thing is they were working on customer support, and because they knew that customer support will be completely different in a few years' time because of technology and how the market is evolving, a lot of things there. And they were making a proposition for customer support. And we had the Neopel, like the character that is like doing the things for you, but it didn't have any application. So it was just, we bring an AI character to your company and it starts working for you somehow. We didn't know how it's going to work for you, but it's just now part of the team basically. And and when we were pitching to each other, it was like, okay, but why we don't make the Neopel do the customer support then for you. And then we just saw the match, and everything becomes logical in the
that
end.
sounds so good.
Yeah.
How does it go? Is it like dating then?
Yeah, then it was dating. So and we actually called it dating. So we say, okay, if we want to start a company together, we have to go to because we are going to marry.
Yeah.
So we have to go to get to know each other. So we all in our spare time. So we didn't have any company. We didn't have anything to put it in. It was like, okay, every Friday and Wednesday we're going to sit together and build a virtual company basically, and if we like it and we see that it works, then we are going to start together. And that went actually quite quick. So after a few weeks, few months, we already said, okay, I think this will work, and start building the company.
Dating with your co-founders. Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, if I have a lot of SaaS founders or leaders watching this, are you willing to share the pitch deck from then? Is it cool to share?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because that is so cool to share. I guess
the original one with the original Emily. Yeah.
And then maybe also the from your co-founders. Like that's how two worlds combined. That would be super cool to share.
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So after dating, you started to build the AI Neople that focus on customer success.
Yeah.
Customer support. Sorry. How long before first traction, first clients?
Yeah. So on purpose, we started with multiple type of clients. So we started in accounting, we started in legal, we started in HR, and in support. So we had, after a few months, we had 4 Neople working at 4 completely different companies. And we did a lot of testing and build prototypes that can do the job basically. And we start innovating from that point basically. And we also, after I think 4 months, we say, okay, we now have a lot of knowledge from how it's working in these companies. Now we have to choose. Because doing everything at the same time won't make you a winner in this space, because then you're actually a master of none. So then you have to choose. I think that's the most important thing. It's not that it's the right choice. It is making a choice. That was basically the thing that we have to choose. And with one of our customers, we really saw a better adoption of the concept. Like the adoption of this was Bob was part of the team, and they also put it on their Facebook in their on their website. It was part of the team. They talk about it. It was really like a thing, right? So they adopted the concept as we presented it. This is your new colleague. It's going to work with you like that. And then we say, okay, if they adopted it the best, then we have to choose that direction, because the functionality that it has, like answering or helping answering questions from customers, is something that we want to that we have to learn and be better at it over time. But the first starting point is that people want to use it and want to work together with it, and that's why we choose this ICP. Our ideal customer profile was like the mid-market e-commerce and working in support.
Nice. So you nailed it down super specific now.
So then we choose this is our ICP, this is our type of customer that we want to address, and then we approach a lot of similar companies and similar customers, using the proposition from our first clients to see, okay, this is how we're doing it there. That worked.
You write online on your LinkedIn post that you're working at the fastest growing company you ever worked at. What makes the traction so good? What makes it?
I think it's software, so there are less barriers. That's definitely a thing. So that I think that really makes sense. So the thing is, you like with Ember, you had to lease cars, and they have to be built and then shipped and things like that. And with the engineering company, you need, for every hour that you sell, you need more people. And this is like, okay, if you can plug in more customers easier, not easy, but easier. So that allows you to grow faster. But I think the most important thing here is that we have the right timing, because AI is a thing, and we cannot ignore it. And we are AI native and building our application on top of AI. So you have the right timing, because people are now looking for that transition towards more automation. And so the timing is a very important thing. The other thing is the team, because with the first 10, 15 hires, we only have people that have experience in the same phase and the same role, and also already at least have experience. Like at Amber, we didn't have any experience yet, but we also built a team that also didn't have experience, but we're building experience together. And that's really nice. And it's also a good thing, because then you're also building a team that will be really good in building that company. But now we're also hiring people that already have experience in building other companies, and they are bringing that experience into the company. And that really helps us to grow faster, because we're not making as many mistakes, because the team already have seen a lot of things. So timing and team are the most important things. And there are no reasons to not scale. That's
And how fast are you growing now?
What is fast? We to give an example, the things that we also publish. So we started the company last year January, and we have now more than 100 customers. So that's really fast. We also got funding quite fast. So after 5 months after founding, we got our first pre-seed round of 1.5 million. And we just closed a few weeks ago our second funding. So after 1 year after the last funding round, we got a second funding round of 6 million. So that gives a general idea on how fast everything is going.
And this is the third time you're a founder company, right? So you're an experienced founder, you have an experienced team, you have now software without barriers of a very operation-heavy business, basically. You just closed your series. Was it Series A or
seed?
Seed round of 6 million. So it makes you one of the hot shots of SaaS at this moment. How do you see the future? What is your BHAG?
We have a lot of ambition. So we are already also working for some foreign clients, and we are now opening an office in Germany to also start there, because we now have also a few German clients, but we don't have any German native speaking people. So we also want to have like a customer success people that are native German that can also help our clients there, and also in our go-to-market to start there. Our ambition is to do it worldwide, but you have to make steps to come there, and that's and these are, in our opinion, the right steps. The other thing is that our product is far from finished. The Neople are adding a lot of value, but we have also our clients, and we want to do a lot more with the Neople. So also building making the Neople better and growing the development team, because now you have the challenge of onboarding a lot of new clients, and on the same time developing features that help all the clients. That's something that's go now side by side, and you want to have at least a big enough team to do both things on par. And I think that's something that we want to invest into to do
nice.
Well.
Great to hear the ambition. I feel the ambition. It's like how does that translate to your culture? Like how does the team work?
We also have a lot of conversations with the team about it, also to learn on what do we want to build and how do we want to work together with each other. People are working really hard. That's something that you definitely see. So people are because they also want to make it work, and also like success, because a lot of things are going pretty well. It also feels like, I want to contribute to it. I want to do it better, because that's something that really contributes to the results that we are making together. So we have a really action and result driven team at the moment. We also of course have to spend time on like work-life balance for the team. We have to spend time on appreciation. Really important thing, that everybody feels appreciated for what they are doing. That's something that we need to put a lot of effort in, because that's also part of like the high performance culture that we currently have.
Yeah. And what are your career dreams from here?
My career dreams.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a little bit contrary with what I said about Amber, because then I said, okay, I don't want to manage the bigger company. But now we are at the point that, like, in this space, we will be a big company in a very very soon.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like done with my job then. And I don't think that's needed, because I'm also learning a lot from this whole journey. But that's something that I still want to be comfortable and performing at the best of what I can do. Also when the company is growing bigger, and also internationally. I think that's also the first time that we built a company cross border, because like with Amber, it was really hard to get cars in a different country, because everything has to change. Here it's easy to scale abroad, but then you also have to manage a company abroad, and that's something that's also new and I want to learn it. That's basically
interesting. Yeah, I would love to interview you in a year from now to see where you take it. I already love all the golden information you share.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will already find it very inspiring to hear the story.
Cool.
And great that you want to give back to the SaaS community, and also good to show your journey here in the SaaS Unscripted podcast. Is there anything else that you want to share today?
No, I think that's for every founder that wants to start a company, basically, just don't think too much about it.
Yeah.
Just start, because you will never end up with the things that you have in your head right now. That's definitely a thing, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's
you will learn.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
A great addition. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hans. I really loved the conversation, and I'm going to keep following you very, very tight.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.